to the architects.
So I'd like to say, while they're on their way up here, we've asked them to come tonight to give a little bit of a description of what's been decided upon in the planning and use of the proposed new gymnasium that's going to go in the Food Line property. So things have changed a little bit since they came before us the first time, so felt like it'd be a great time for them to give us a little bit of an update. So we'll turn this over to
All right. I'm Jamie Pfeffer with Pfeffer Road Architecture. And
Why don't you turn that thing this way? So some of these folks up there with
wonderful. We'll just
lay it against their hand. You could even lay it back.
Is that better for everybody? All right. Try not to block this on your view. So we have been working with Brian, Matthew, Mayor on kind of developing the concept for the new kind of community center. It would include gymnasium space. We've got a few renderings, floor plan we'll be able to walk everybody through, talk about what we've been working on, answer a few questions. But just while we're looking at the kind of main picture, we have the gymnasium space to the left. It includes, it's sized for kind of 2 full court basketball courts. It can also be used for volleyball, any number of other sports as well. We'll look at the floor plan in a little bit. In the center is kind of this kind of main entry, kind of a plaza entry, where everybody kind of gather before coming into the building. Again, the hope is that this facility can be used not only by kind of all the kind of people using the space, but also attract tournaments and other kind of activities and things like that. So a gathering space to kind of get the teams together coming in and out of the facility. Behind the facility itself is, we have kind of show the floor plan, but a lobby, locker rooms, and then Parks office in the center. And then to the right, we have in the front a community room, an event room, a fitness facility, and kind of a older kind of teenager kind of lounge area. And so that's kind of the heart of it. That's kind of a look at what this would start to look like from the outside. We're going to look at another view, kind of looking a little bit more at the gymnasium portion. This is kind of the one gym. There's another gym space over here in that mass.
They did a great job incorporating the architecture that, they went all through town when they first started this project to look at the basic types of architecture that we have here and the renderings that they came up with. I mean, you can tell that you're looking at a building that probably ought to belong in Rogersville.
Well, we appreciate that. I mean, obviously it's a beautiful town. Joe and I, every time we come, we kind of drive to the main square a few times, just getting inspired, seeing everything. It's a beautiful town, and so definitely tried to kind of both kind of honor the town, but also understand this is a large civic building, and kind of give it a civic presence and do something that hopefully will be lasting and becoming of the town. Kind of a view from that other kind of 3/4 angle, kind of showing this. One thing that we'll look at here in a minute with the floor plan, but I kind of highlight here with. You see another little plaza. This plaza is, with it being kind of this, the ball field is right behind it. We want this building to be kind of, and this will include parking improvements, indoor, outdoor space, the way this space kind of interacts with the entire kind of parks facility, I think is really, really critical. And this is a great opportunity for those kind of outdoor spaces to kind of serve that as you have ball games going on right now under the lights and have this, structure be able to kind of be there and be a part of that overall improvement to the campus. A couple of just the basic elevations, just understanding kind of what it looks like in the perspective, but just kind of a sense of how those 2 main gymnasiums in that one big room work. The main kind of plaza entry, and then the community rooms to the side, and you kind of see the side elevation or the rear elevation again, kind of that youth fitness room, the parks office back here, the 2 gymnasiums. The side, that's the fitness room, community room, those kind of spaces, and then this is the gymnasium side facing towards the cemetery. And then I thought it might be nice to kind of walk through the floor plan. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of a little bit about where we are. some of the construction considerations we've been given, as well as kind of potential next steps. But I thought I might kind of walk through the floor plan, and it kind of has to do with where ours through this kind of process. We've been working with Matthew to kind of try to kind of really right size it and kind of make sure we're being very, very efficient with all the kind of project goals. And so this is that kind of plaza entry. You come in through here, and then you come into kind of a lobby space, be able to have kind of a check-in space. And so, you know, with this whole move, we've tried to kind of, again, compress things and kind of keep it where it's like, you know, it's very efficient. We don't have, it's all one story, so that we don't have the cost of extra stairs and ADA considerations. Everything is fully compliant on one level. It's very, you know, efficient in that regard. So this would be kind of the main lobby check-in zone kind of gathering. On days where you might have tournaments or things like that, the ability to have a concessions area that can open up and serve the lobby and serve those spaces. You come in through here, through the double doors, enter into the large gymnasium space. We've been working, again, with Matthew and others to kind of talk about how this can be configured, different configurations, different court configurations, different sports, different activities, all in that kind of large space. And then a large kind of storage space off the back that allows those spaces to change over, turn over, maintain all the supplies and everything you need to serve the gymnasium space. And then kind of egress doors off the corners for safety. Then through the center we have restrooms and kind of, you know, again, more restrooms. We have the ability to have kind of a shower changing kind of space, you know, kind of minimizing kind of lockers and those kind of spaces, but we do have kind of fully functional kind of restrooms, changing areas, those kind of spaces in the 2 locker rooms. And then through here, the center, we have the parks office, kind of an open workspace, some private offices, break room, and then glass that kind of also allows them to connect to the ball fields behind the facility. And then walking off to this side, we have the community room up front, another event space, so 2 great rooms that can be used for a number of different group gatherings and occasions. We have the ability to have a catering kitchen here to kind of service those event spaces. And then we have a fitness space here, kind of large glass windows that look onto kind of that court space on the side, and then the recreation room in the back with ability to have kind of game tables and other kind of gaming activities off the back. And that's a little bit of a look at the floor plan. And so we have been kind of working, you know, on developing design, getting the pieces. We've had a few different construction teams kind of look at it, provide some preliminary pricing, and kind of update all of those and kind of look at that. So we have a really good gauge on kind of the pricing, and really where the next step would be to kind of say we want to, you know, be able to kind of engage the various engineers and advance the drawings and kind of move forward towards construction. Once the town's ready to move forward, we probably have about better part of 6 months of drawing, engineering, coordination, preparation, organization, and then about a 12-month building process. And so kind of from a timeline from go, you know, again, everyone wants to go kind of as efficiently as possible. About 18 months from now, we could be using the facility. What other kind of questions and information can I provide?
So I would like to say that in the architecture that they're proposing, this will be a brick structure.
What's the square footage of?
About 32,500 square feet.
And on this,
So, what's your capacity of your community room?
on the community room, it is 1,200 square feet, and so that's gonna be an occupant count of about 180 officially.
Could you have
Joe,
2
you're gonna double
bus?
check on
I'm
that?
gonna double check your math.
Could you have 2
I'm doing it off
bus?
the top of my head, but it's a 1,200 square foot room, that's written down. He's gonna double check me.
Could you have 2 basketball games going like at one time, like is there a
Yes.
petition in
Yes.
between that or something?
Yes, there's the ability to have drop down curtains
Okay.
here, and so this is, on this, you can see these are kind of 2 full courts side by side.
And then they've got the availability to turn those courts into how many smaller courts?
We've got side goals on each of those where I feel like we could probably play our little kids, our 5 and 6-year-olds, going this way, potentially have 4 games going.
And so the way this works, we've tried to put some flexibility in where we have the ability to have pull-out bleachers on these sides, so that if you do have kind of larger kind of tournament games, you can do those. We also have just sort of some built-in kind of bench seating. The idea is whether it's kids for practice, they can put their water bottle, their bags there, or if it's parents for the short court games for the little kids, they can kind of occupy those areas. And again, as Matthew's saying, run the 4 short courts.
You've also got a partition that you can pull down to separate distinctly the 2 full-size courts, where you can open it up if you need to have some kind of big assembly type
Civic event, you know, big.
And use the full space.
Well, I've been here for a little while, and we've had to borrow basketball courts ever since I've been here.
Yeah.
We're big enough, I think we ought to have our own courts.
What other sports could you utilize with those courts? I mean, I know you mentioned in our prior meeting volleyball. I mean,
It's great for volleyball. You know, obviously pickleball's really picking up steam.
Right.
And this works well for pickleball. I think we're seeing some of these facilities do kind of indoor soccer and versions of that.
You could do Battle Ball.
Yeah.
A lot of our programs would benefit from that big space right there. Just like when we have baseball evaluations in late March and it rains, we bring them inside and use a little safety ball to at least gauge how they throw in their field. I mean, they make balls to play inside with.
what type of material are the courts made out of? Is it wood or?
It's wood.
Okay.
They're full wood courts. They have so a couple things, you know. So one, just on that room, that is why we made the room kind of a big clear span kind of, I mean, warehouse style room, so that you have the maximum flexibility for all those sports. The court itself, we were envisioning as kind of a classic wood basketball court, so it has kind of an underlayment, a little spring, so it's better for kind of the joints and the jumping and all those kind of things, kind of that basketball court setup. And then, you know, we have not developed like exactly what the marking pattern would be and how we, you know, that's how you navigate all the different sports and what kind of marking that you do, but we would do a color-coded marking plan to try to make it as versatile as possible. Other questions kind of help answer.
So that is in the rear. I get that's parking in the rear as well.
Yes, so
right
these
here.
this is parking.
Okay.
And so basically you're on this back here would be the third base line of that first ball field, somewhere back here.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So
and then there'd be more parking. I didn't grab one of the earlier kind of site plans, but there would be more parking kind of in front towards
right.
the street.
And I guess you could access the rear parking from. Will you access it from both sides or just the left side?
Right now we have it just accessed from the
Okay.
left, and the idea is, you know, right now you have kind of the baseball course, the concession
Right.
area, and those kind of pieces. And so not really wanting to pull cars
Right.
through that zone with people walking from that kind of center area down to parking. So trying to kind of minimize the unnecessary crossover of those activities if we can.
Talking about taking out the current entrance to the park building, talking about moving that totally, cause there's an offset, you know, when you're coming down from the middle school, we have to make that quick turn back to level 1 in the architecture for this. The planner gonna get rid of that.
And so what happens is there's a little bit of a, you know, again, but I've seen it be a little bit dangerous with those kind of slightly staggered entrances, people coming and going, and so you have somebody, you know, turning and the other car's kind of turning and you don't know, and then all of a sudden it creates a little bit of a scene there, especially with the school right next door, just kind of minimizing kind of those kind of dangerous conditions.
So will the current park and rec building, it'll be demolished
Yes.
as well with the
Yes.
current UGO food line building?
Correct.
Okay.
That would be like parking here, I guess, kinda where you.
So really, where that sits is kind of back, near the
Okay,
back
so
of this
it's-
building.
Okay.
And then coming forward. And so, sitting that kind of at the back, if we think about kind of the maintenance barn.
Right.
There's that slope, this kind of sits back right at the edge of that
Okay.
zone.
I'm with you.
It's a very similar scale to what is there now.
Okay.
This one is a little bit larger, but, like the parking would be very similar to what's in front of the existing food line.
You know, we are cleaning up, I mean, it is some improved, enhanced parking, cleaning up
Right.
sight lines, I mean, those kind of pieces, but from a function standpoint, it'll still achieve a lot of those kind of similar opportunities just with community use.
Would this be something you do in like stages, or like you just kinda build the whole thing and it'd be ready to go in
It's
12
pretty-
months once you start?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to build in stages.
Yeah, you just, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy construction, and I think the goal would be to make it happen in 12 months, it's better to just kinda mobilize once and move in and move out. So it's really a one move.
When you look at HVAC and things like that, you know, it's just kinda hard to separate all that. We're gonna eventually have a structure this big anyway. I would think it would be.
Yes. Yes, it's, you know, and just the utility runs and the different pieces, I mean, this is pretty heavy construction, so kinda wanna get them mobilized and then off of the park space as soon as we can as well.
You said you had like some preliminary costs, like at what point would you be ready to share, I mean, or be able to like estimates and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we have, I mean, we engaged, a couple of pretty significant cost consultants through, contractors. You know, obviously this project would be bid out and kind of doing that, but we engaged some cost consultants that would be, you know, they would love to go kind of CM at risk type of thing, construction manager at risk, because they feel very confident in that pieces. So the total magnitude of this project, including demolition, engineering, design, you know, survey, construction fees, management, those kind of pieces would be $60.5 million right now. So all in.
And hopefully when it gets bid out, it will come in less.
Yes.
Yeah.
We certainly.
It's very possible.
We're certainly
That makes you
optimistic
raise.
that once you get it into full competitive pieces and things like that it'll happen. But I think from an order of magnitude, you know, we need to be thinking about in that order range and hopefully, and we do think that's either accurate or conservative, and so we think it'll be that or better.
I like the design. It's fitting.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Any other questions?
Does anybody recall? I know this project kind of got halted by COVID. Do you remember what the cost estimate was before COVID?
Sure. Before we had, well, the first version, I mean, back 4 years ago, it was actually a bigger scheme, and so we worked with Matthew to kind of size it down. I think the first numbers were coming in about the same.
Yeah.
They were coming in, it was, we didn't have, the current estimate we have a 40-page detailed breakdown cost estimate. We never got to that point before COVID. But the preliminary numbers that we received that kind of prompted the kind of that efficiency scaling were 16.5 to 18, and then we cut the size down. So it's not totally apples to apples. You know, the cost is similar. We have definitely seen, we've seen significant cost inflation over the past 4 years. Like that's in construction especially. Like we would be remiss to say anything otherwise. Like the cost may be the same now, through everybody's efforts and kind of priorities, we've been able to kind of keep that cost from expanding, but it, you know, it is a smaller structure to make that happen.
We can't thank you enough for the hard work that you all have done.
Appreciate that.
To this point, we appreciate you coming here this evening to share this with everyone. You know, just out of pure transparency, that's why we wanted you folks to be here and give the people on the board that haven't had a chance to see this to have a good look at it.
Yes.
You know.
And we're glad to, you know, again, we, it's been a pleasure to kind of work on this, and it feels like it's come to a really kind of great place, but we're glad to kind of talk to anybody about what it is and why it is. I think with everybody's efforts, it's a very thoughtful approach right now. Good, anything else I can help answer?
Thank you, Joe, thank you, James.